Nebraska goes for its second consecutive national title Tuesday night. John Hadley, who wins the game and why?
I think Florida's going to win the game because, plain and simply, they can strike quicker. And I think they will, and they will often. However, if Nebraska somehow, some way can force Florida's special teams to be a factor in this game, Nebraska has a chance because Florida's special teams are about as useless as a screen door in a submarine.
Nat, do your Florida Gators take home the title for the first time ever?
I think they do. I think that Florida's going to come out and that steep, spurious system will control the football by throwing it, scoring quick, taking Nebraska out of their system, and then eventually coming back and pounding it and controlling the game.
Gentlemen, I'm outnumbered, but I'm going with Nebraska. They forced turnovers, 28 of them this season, and I like that veteran experience. They've been there. They're not going to be fazed by playing for a national title. I'll go for Nebraska, and 2 in a row. John Hadley, Nat Moore, thanks for joining us. On the road to glory, it ends in Tempe, Arizona on Tuesday night in the national championship. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Great special teams, and I'll tell you, I make a prediction right now. Florida will block 1 kick against Nebraska in the championship game.
I'll predict this, 2 things. One, no, they will not block one. And the other is if you'd have participated in that dance.
Hey, by the way, how's Florida going to stop Nebraska's offense?
Well, it's real simple. What Florida will do, I say simple, it sounds simple. They'll put 9 men up on the line of scrimmage, a 4-4, and bring up a free safety. They'll assign 2 men to Frazier every play, and then 1 man on the pitch man and 1 man on the fullback. It works. There's one small problem. He catches it, they block, throws play action. It's a long touchdown run or a long pass.
All right, Mr. Sheridan, give us the goods. Who wins it all?
You got a drum roll?
I'll cook up something.
Not bad.
Take it.
I still believe defense wins championships, and Nebraska certainly has a little bit better defense. They also have the speed and the skilled players. And as I said, don't listen, Florida's not a pushover, but I'm concerned about their special teams. This should be a very exciting game, but I'm going to stay with Nebraska. They were good to me last year in the national championship game, and I think they're just a little bit better than Florida. And if they are good defensively, like I think they are, they will win this game.
On the line here, Florida and Nebraska. You like your SEC brother in this, or the Huskers going to come out on top?
Who I think is going to win, and I know that I'm biased, and I've been afflicted by having been on the field with them, but I just think it's going to be very difficult to beat Florida this year. If anybody can do it, it would probably be Nebraska, but I think Florida will win the game.
And you touched on it inside a little while ago. It's going to come down to Nebraska's defensive secondary there. How well they can contain the Florida receivers, you think?
Yeah, I think Florida's offense is so dominating this year particularly.
How important then, Coach, does ball control become for the Huskers? Grinding down the clock, keeping it in their hands, running the ball, and keeping it out of Werfel's hands?
Well, now, if there's anybody that can beat them, it's Nebraska. I mean, I've watched them all this year, and I really studied Nebraska all year because I thought maybe we'd be out there playing them, you know. And I wasn't looking forward to it, by the way. But Nebraska is a solid enough football team to beat anybody in the country.
How much does it help Nebraska, having played Miami and Florida State the past 2 years for the national title? They're similar to the Gators in a way in speed and skill. Does that help Nebraska a lot?
Oh, I think it was very important that they beat Miami last year in the Orange Bowl because they had lost to us twice before that down in Miami, and everybody was saying, well, the heat gets to them, they can't win down there. But this past year, they went into Miami and beat them for the national championship. Now they have the confidence they can play anywhere in the country, and the heat or nothing else will be a factor.
Win however many games in a row that we've won, you don't want to say you feel invincible, but there's a feeling that somebody's going to have to come in there and you know, take the championship away from us.
In the games I watched and stuff on tape, I mean, it's like blown coverages when he was completing his passes. I mean, it was like nobody around the receiver like 20 yards from him, so I don't really think they got a real good passing game.
One of the key things, this is the playing surface. It's on grass, and I think it's tremendous advantage for Florida on grass. Nebraska cannot rush the passer as quick. Their linebackers and secondary people cannot react as quick. They don't like the option on the grass. Advantage playing surface, Florida over Nebraska.
I would agree. The odds would favor Nebraska more if it were played on carpet.
Absolutely.
You watch how fast they get to Danny Werfel, even on grass. You watch how fast Wiström and Tomich hit him. They'll hit him hard.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Spur, you give him a month, he'll dissect any defense, no matter how fast they rush the guy.
I agree. He's brilliant, but Nebraska's staff, underrated. You give them a month, and they haven't been out coaching too many big games either.
No, but they've lost some big ball games to passing teams. Remember that.
Point, counterpoint. This will continue in Tempe. We're going to
real important things in this football game is going to be the fact that Nebraska has never played a football game on grass this entire year. And they practiced on turf all year, and there's a big difference. Your timing and a variety of other things.
How do you see the game shaping
I see Florida win it. I see them winning because of the playing surface. I think grass slows the ball down. I think that's how they beat them. If the game was played on artificial turf, I'd take Nebraska. They're that close.
Well, I think the playing surface has a factor in this deal, but also Steve Spurrier offensively. I believe that Florida's offensive game plan will have had enough time to get used to that speed and quickness and skill level of Nebraska, and that's why I picked them in this thing. It'll be a good, close ball game, but Nebraska's defense, I don't think, can keep up with Florida's offense.
I think this whole grass business is being blown out of proportion, and let me remind you that we did win the national championship last year on grass.
It makes a difference, you know. If you used to run on turf, and then it's going to be a big difference if you playing on grass. That might be if it's a big difference than we think, you know. I hope that's a check for us.
We are happy that the game is on natural grass. They play 11 on AstroTurf. We play 11 on natural grass. So we got to feel like the surface is a little bit to our advantage.
Well, I don't know who's the favorite here. This is the type of surface, of course, that Florida plays on all year, and we have not played on it yet this year. We practice on it. We've scrimmaged on it, and so it's not any great concern to us, really, what type of surface. I would have to say that it shouldn't be any great advantage to either team.
This game is the playing surface. The game is going to be played on grass, and I think grass slows the game down, and all of these things are advantages for the University of Florida. Number one, it slows the pass rush down. You can't get that good toe hold. Number two, the reaction of the linebackers in the defensive secondary slow down. The ball doesn't slow down, but they do. And number three, and most important, when Nebraska runs the option, it's harder to get to that corner and around that corner on grass. I think grass will be a very, very important situation in this ball game, and I think it's a determining factor in who wins the game.
And so you think that really helps Florida overall?
Absolutely.
And I agree with you. Overall, you have to, but you have to also look back to last year. Nebraska goes down to the Orange Bowl on grass. They beat a good Miami football team. So Nebraska has won on grass. Now, I watched the ball game the other night in the NFL between the Cowboys and the Cardinals. A lot of slipping taking place out there, and I thought twice about that, thinking about Nebraska's running game. It's really going to help Florida's offense. You know, you look what Aikman did, over 300 yards passing. No question, Warfel can do the same.
Let me give you another interesting point, and this is hidden, but it's important. Nebraska's bowl record, they've lost 7 out of the last 8 bowl games. And 6 of those teams have been from the University of Florida, or Florida State, excuse me. And one important thing, every single game they lost on grass. Now, that is not a coincidence.
And they all played against better ball clubs, too. The grass didn't do anything about it. They had better teams beating them.
No, sir.
Well, back to this field across the way here. I'd say this gets a lot of use. You had 7 college games, 10 NFL games, 2 high school games, so it's a little bit beat up right now. The Cowboys had the wrong cleats, though. They didn't have long enough cleats for this winter rye grass.
I talked to them.
Yeah, don't get me going on the grass over here, I'll tell you, but they will bring the right cleats. I don't think it'll be a big factor.
Well, college football, you can only have 3/4-inch cleats.
They'll wear better cleats than the Cowboys. There won't be as much slipping.
Can't do it. It's against the rules.
The game will be played, and I know you never break a rule. The game will be played 6 days from now across the street, but the Wizards of the Sega, folks, have already played this game, and it was a classic when played on the computer. A 1-yard bootleg by Tommy Frazier, who programmed it. Nebraska's not run a bootleg in 50 years. But then Danny Werfel, the touchdown pass to Ike Hilliard. That makes it 27-26 Nebraska. Florida then went for 2, got the 2-point conversion, and won the little Sega game 28-27. Now, again, perhaps a flaw in the program. You wouldn't go for 2 if it came down to it because there's overtime in bowls now. You kick the point, you tie.
That's right.
But hey, listen, those computer guys are not that bright.
I wonder what kind of cleats they have.
No question about it. Hey, here you go. Hold this thing for me.
Let me hold it up.
This is a stress releaser. I don't know why I ever picked against Nebraska. How about you, partner? Give me that. Get out of here.
Nebraska are national champions for a 2nd consecutive year. The Big 8 has 4 10-win teams. No conference has ever done it. The final headgear of the season. So long from Tempe. Back to the studio. You guys?